Hey everyone, Ryan Grant here and welcome back to the YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm just going to be running over with you guys a few things you can be doing day to day in order to stay consistent with your surplus. So in other words, how to eat in a calorie surplus every day without fail. And these things are really important because I completely understand how hard it is to be eating more than what your body needs day to day, because that is ultimately what a surplus is, right? You've got to eat more than what your body requires of you. So I understand how challenging it is. So there are a few things we can be doing to make it just that little bit easier for us on a day-to-day basis. Now, really quickly, just before I get into this video, I would absolutely love it if I can invite you guys into my very own free online community. It's going to be the top link in the description. I'm not really going to keep you guys here for long, just basically helping guys bulk and gain muscle. If you want to see more about that, it's going to be the top link in the description. But I'll get back to that later, and let's get into today's video. So the first thing that I want to go over that you guys can be doing to make it so much easier to stay consistent with eating in a caloric surplus every day is eating at the same times every day, and basically just identifying times you eat your meals throughout the day and try and make them as consistent as you possibly can throughout each day of the week. I've gone through this in a few videos, as I have said in previous videos as well, but I just want to reiterate it to you guys and to you new guys here if you're not aware of this, because it can be very important and it can change a lot for you, okay? So the reason why I say you should, or I'd highly recommend you eat at the same times every day and you sort of plan out your meals accordingly, is because us as humans, we have a hormone in our bodies called the ghrelin hormone. Now, if you're not aware what the ghrelin hormone is, it's basically, to put it into simple terms, the hormone that tells us, it's time to eat. It tells our brain it's time to eat, when we're meant to eat, and therefore this stimulates and spikes our appetite. So when this ghrelin hormone is active, it basically tells our brain it's time to eat. Therefore, we spike our appetite. Therefore, we're hungry. Therefore, we eat, right? And if we do this at the same times every day, then this hormone and our body and our brain is going to start to recognize a pattern, and it's going to start to understand when we like to eat, right? So we got control of this, and then once, when the patterns are starting to be recognized, then our appetite is going to be spiked at similar or the same times throughout the day. Therefore, it's going to be a lot easier to eat consistently every day, right? Because you're going to have a spike in appetite at the same time every day. So, your ghrelin hormone in your body isn't really going to be doing any guesswork, because you've done it so consistently that it started to recognize the pattern and that it can follow the pattern. So it's just going to be a lot easier for you, right? And in order to do this in the best fashion you possibly can, you want to be tactical. You want to be smart about when you eat your foods. For example, you want to be ideally eating a meal before you go to the gym and after you go to the gym. And this is perfect because before the gym, you obviously want to get yourself energized. You obviously want to feed your body the right nutrients in order to peak your performance in the gym. And then after the gym, because you've burnt these calories, you've used this energy, your body's going to be slightly depleted. Therefore, it's going to be, it's going to be after these nutrients again. So it's actually going to be easier to eat after the gym as well. So basically, you just get 2 meals right there. Well, not for free, but it's just a lot less taxing on the body, right? So yeah, you've got to be very tactical about when you want to eat your meals. For example, I've been eating 5 meals a day for a while. I have my meal 1, which is my pre-workout meal, and then my meal 2, which is my post-workout meal, and then my meal 3, which is my lunch, and then meal 4, which is my dinner, and then meal 5 is at the end of the day. Obviously, you don't have to do that. That's down to me, my personal preferences, my personal needs. However, what you want to be doing is basically just identifying the gaps in your day, seeing when you can eat and when it's best to eat. For example, if you're at work, obviously you can't eat during your shift. You've got to identify when your break is, or, before you go to work, or when you get back from work, things like that. The little things make the biggest difference, okay? So that's the first thing, eating at the same time every day and planning out your meal times in relation to what your day has in store for you. So basically just identify the gaps, look at the breaks. But the second thing that I want to go through with you guys is eating calorie dense foods, okay? This is super, super important because we want to make bulking as easy for ourselves as possible. And calorie dense foods, if you're not sure what they are, basically just refers to portions that aren't necessarily so big in size and volume. However, they are very, very calorie packed. Obviously, as you can tell by that definition, they are very, very important for the bulk, because you don't want to be eating foods that are like, 200 calories, but they're super, super filling. You want to be eating foods that are like anywhere between like 600 to 1,000 calories, not necessarily as filling. Obviously, you want to keep it clean because there are some very dirty, calorie dense foods, but having things like a mass gainer protein shake, or instead of having egg whites, have full eggs, or instead of having just a normal slice of bread, have bagels because they got more calories in them, or just add cheese into your meals, stuff like that. And a really, really common misconception that people have about eating for the bulk is they think more is more, but not necessarily. Okay, for example, after I've filmed this YouTube video and a couple more after this, I'm going to go downstairs and get my first meal for the day, where I have 6 eggs, 2 bagels, and on top of that, in order to add more calories in, I have a little bit of smoked salmon and I have some cheese, which adds at least an extra 200 calories, right? So more isn't necessarily more, and you can be smart about what you do. You don't necessarily want to be eating hard. You want to be eating smart. Okay, so that's the second thing. You want to be eating calorie dense foods throughout the day. Okay, you always want to think to yourself, when you're cooking a portion of food, how can I make this more calorie dense? What can I add, or what can I change? For example, things like that. Just keeping you on the ball, and obviously making constant improvements. Okay, so that's number 2, eating calorie dense food. So the third thing, the penultimate thing of this video, is meal prep. Okay, this is super, super important, especially if you are, if you've got a full-time job and you don't necessarily have too much time to eat, or you're just really busy throughout the day in general. Because as you all know, when trying to eat in a calorie surplus and trying to get all your meals in throughout the day, it is very, very taxing, not just on the body, but sometimes it can take a while as well if we're not too hungry, but we still got to get a meal in. Or some meals take time to cook and you don't necessarily have time to do that, therefore you end up skipping your meals, therefore you're not going to be in a calorie surplus for that day, and obviously that is not what you want, because that is not going to get you closer to your end goal. So look at your days, look at what your schedule is consisting of, and if you have a couple of hours on certain days free, then I highly suggest you spend some time preparing some meals in advance. Put them in the fridge, and then all you've got to do is just get them out of the fridge and go, and then you're fine. And then you can eat them throughout the day, and it's effortless. Okay, so a couple of hours can be really important for a couple of days worth of meals, right? So that's the third thing. Meal prep can be super, super important if you're busy and you don't necessarily have the time to cook your food. Okay, now onto the final thing of the video. 4 out of 4: eat foods that you enjoy. Okay, you get all these gurus telling you to eat clean and you got to drop this food, you got to drop that food, you can't be eating junk food here, you can't be eating junk food there. But in my opinion, that's total bollocks. Okay, you don't necessarily want to be cutting, especially when you're bulking, you sort of got the freedom to eat whatever you want. So especially as a beginner, as that's who I tailor my videos towards, you don't want to be cutting these foods out. You don't want to be cutting a pizza out. You don't want to be cutting a burger out. And especially when you're trying to get consistent and when you're in the starting phase, keeping things that, pleasure you, right? Keeping foods that pleasure you and keeping comfort foods in your diet can be super, super important. Now, I'm not saying that you want to be eating junk food and all the pleasurable foods all the time, because that will just simply just make you fat and you'll put on unnecessary fat that you'll have to lose, and it'll be a lot longer in the long term, right? But what I'm just saying is, don't cut this stuff out. Have it when you want. Have the freedom, because ultimately, if you don't enjoy something, why would you want to do it, right? But my point here is, at the start of your gym journey, especially, enjoyment is the thing that gets you past that first hurdle. And the first hurdle in arguably anything in life is the biggest hurdle, okay? So just make sure you just make it as fun as possible, right? In order to delay gratification, make sure you eat healthy throughout the day so you can have that pizza at night, okay? Things like that, just, it's just going to help the consistency a lot, all right? So that's the final thing, 4 out of 4. Eat foods that you enjoy. Don't cut out everything, and have a little bit of fun with it, because as I said, when you're bulking, you do have freedom to an extent, okay? And one bonus thing that I want to go through with you guys actually before I end this video is how to work up to eating in a calorie surplus day to day. Because as I said at the beginning of the video, eating more than what your body requires of you every day, it's super taxing, it's super hard, and it can be very mentally challenging, okay? So one way I like to think about this, and what I actually did, was I didn't necessarily eat in a surplus straight away, okay? Because my appetite was, I literally, I when I was younger, I did not eat any food, and I'm assuming if you're a skinny man watching this and you want to bulk, you may not necessarily have the biggest appetite, right? So what I did was I actually just started eating at my maintenance calories. So if you don't know what your maintenance calories is, it's basically just the amount of calories you got to consume every day to stay at the same weight, okay? And you may be thinking, but I'm not going to gain weight like that. Okay, it's all about the consistency, and it's all about the long term. If you can't consistently eat at a maintenance calories every day, how on earth do you think you're going to eat in a surplus every day for 5 to 6 months on the bulk? It simply won't happen. And if your appetite is absolutely shite, right, then you can even eat at a really high deficit, right? And I don't mean like eating in a crazy deficit. I mean eating just below your maintenance. If you literally don't eat anything, and then you slowly build up to the maintenance, and then you'll be in a position where you'll feel comfortable and you'll feel at ease eating in a calorie surplus. So that is sort of a way to build it up. However, if your appetite is completely fine and you don't struggle with eating, then just go straight into the surplus and make use of those 4 things I've just gone through with you guys in this video. So that is now the end. Thank you very, very much for watching. I really appreciate your time, and I hope you truly learnt something in this video. You're going to go away, and yeah, I hope you're going to remember my face in this video. Just before you guys go, as I was saying at the beginning of the video, I would absolutely love it if I could invite you guys into my very own free online community. If you're stuck, if you're a skinny guy and you're stuck and you're not necessarily sure what to do, you're not necessarily sure which direction to go and what workout plan to have, what to do with diet, and if you want my help beyond these YouTube videos, then it's all going to be in the free community in the top link in the description. We got 190 plus people just like you on the exact same journey, so you'll have that accountability all the time, and it's fantastic in there, right? But I won't say any more about that. If you have enjoyed this YouTube video and you just want to stay on the YouTube, then it would genuinely mean a lot to me if you could drop a like, potentially a little comment, any positive feedback, any negative feedback, anything about the video that stuck out to you that you particularly liked. Let me know in the comments below. I'll most certainly get back to you. And if you want to stay around, I upload every Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. So if you want to drop a subscription so I can help you out more and you can make more gains, then that will genuinely mean a lot to me as well. So without further ado, I'll see you guys in the next video.